separating myself and like looking from outside of myself and like, okay, Rodger, like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Like, and whether that comes in the form of just meditation or, you know, journaling and writing or, I mean, literally like just talking to yourself, like looking in the mirror. I mean, the very first thing I thought when you asked the question was holding up the mirror. And I used to say that to people a lot when they're like, oh, just give compliments or whatever. Like, I'm just a mirror. Like, I couldn't do this if it wasn't for you. So whatever you're complimenting me on, like, hey, thank you. Like, I'm like, we're both here. So, you know, but I think that's something that you can do on your own, just looking at like, well, what am I actually doing? Like the sleep that you need, if it takes talking to yourself and be like, Rodger, you're tired as hell. Like, why do you keep trying to, you know, operate and be creative off of 3 hours instead of just getting the 6 or the 8 or whatever? Yeah. Or you know, just hold up the, like, bro, you look like shit. Like, you know, stop, you know, or not even, oh, you're disrespecting, you know, the people in your circle or whatever. So just like.
So for you, it's acknowledgement of what you really have going on instead of convincing yourself of otherwise.
Yeah, it is an awareness. It is like a honest, a really honest look. And you know, in workplaces, I used to get like, I used to be talked to about being hard on myself. And I mean, I get it, but like, if you're not having the tough conversations, who else is? Like all these people, they're work buddies. Like
I think what that probably came from is, so you know, on my platform, I've been advertising positive affirmations, right? And being careful of how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's okay to talk negatively to yourself, but that's acknowledgement. Like, hey, it's been 9 months of you doing the same fuck shit. Then you acknowledge, okay, here's what the fuck shit is. Yeah. And you really sit there and you look at the table and you count the days that you've done it or proof that you've done it, and you're like, nah, that's not us. Because that's not like the best version of what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And you're not tearing yourself down, you're trying to build yourself up because you're like, hey, if we change this one thing, the world around us would change so much. Yeah. And like, but people aren't used to seeing people that be that brutally honest. And also, people are trying to help you avoid self-mutilation when it comes to your verbiage. But for you, you're like, nah, that's not self-mutilation. This is acknowledgement. But they don't want to cross that road with you. So they're only there with you in those moments. They're not there with you for like the marathon of what you're actually trying to get to.
Yeah, and the growth and the okay, now that I know this and I've spoke to myself this way, I'm gonna like pull it around and be better or whatever. Yeah. And I think it was one important thing that you said. You said that's not us, and I think that speaks to the separation of like, I mean, just to maybe be a little spiritual or whatever, like higher self and human self, or like, okay, like your thoughts and, you know, how you're showing up and realizing like, dang, like the things that when I was at home and thinking about how I was going to show up at work the next day or show up to my, you know, friend circle, whatever the next day, that sounded very positive and very like, oh, like, yeah, we can, you know, apply patience here and give people joy here or whatever. But then, oh, I got there and I was a bitch and I like didn't talk to anybody and I was on my phone the whole time, whatever the case. And even acknowledging that those are two separate, what we're thinking, what our soul or heart or whatever wants, and our intentions and how we're actually like acting in those spaces are two different things. Yeah. And aligning those, you have to be a friend to yourself. You have to have the tough conversation that like, look, like you got good, you know, aspirations, but you're not showing up in this way. And oh, well, actually, my friends don't really fuck with me anyway. I heard them talking shit, so like, why should? And you know, having that like back and whatever it is, and like, okay, how do we solve this?
You're just acknowledging it. And this is a funny conversation because the reason, I don't know if you saw the post that I did on friendships today, right?
Yeah, I did actually. Yes, I did.
So I did that post because one of my boys hit me up asking for help. Yeah. First, he was acknowledging the Hug a Homie campaign that we're working on. I told you about that over the phone. And then he told me about a situation. And I talked him through what I made the video about today last week. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Because we had this conversation, I'm going to make a couple of videos for you this week that I hope are beneficial for you. Because like, I think it's very important to acknowledge who your friends and who are your associates. Okay, yeah. A lot of people like to toss the words friends around a lot. And they may only know you for being the person who pours their shot. Or being the person who spots them when they need extra money to like go on the bus, but they may not understand like what makes you tick, what bothers you, what sends you over the edge, what brings you joy, like in your personal life outside of the bottle or outside of something you're able to provide a group. And I was telling him that the people he's confiding in, it's not that they're bad people, and this is very important. Sure. A lot of us get to the finish line of they couldn't hold me down, so they're terrible people. It's like, no, it's not that they're terrible people. It's that you may have made the mistake of believing that they were something that they're not. They may just be your friends who are there for the good times, or they're because they need you in their lives for that positivity, but they may not be the people who are able to hold you down when like shit hits the fan and like you don't crack the jokes you usually crack anymore. You're not able to carry that smile that everyone knows you for. They may not be able to be in your presence unless you're the laugh, and that's okay. Just keep track. And it's not keeping track to cut them off, keeping track so you know who you may want to allow yourself to be, or what you can expect from them when you're just being who you need to be in that moment.
I have friends that, I mean, and I think you can take mental notes, but and I have friends who take like actual notes on like, hey, this is what happened in a friendship, or this is what like was said and what hurt or whatever. And I respect the hell out of that because I don't like, my memory sucks, and like I don't, you know, I'm very like, okay, like this happened in this moment, I'm gonna take the like details of it and not how I felt, and so like I don't even like hold on to that. Once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah, exactly. And so like I do, you know, really respect that. I think it does help us figure out who our friends are and what roles they each play, and that goes back to what I was saying before about like
care.
And like knowing what to expect from these people. Like, okay, this person is the like care bear that I know, you know, does X, Y, and Z. And even knowing like, okay, when I do show up to them and just dump on them, you know, every time, and like, you know, even just understanding what the dynamic is. And I think that goes into another strategy that I try to use is almost having like friend contracts. And maybe it's not a agreed like, hey, this is what we're doing, these are the spaces we can, but even just like remembering what you signed up for. Because I think there at times it does change. The drinking homie might now be the late night homie. Say it again.
Forever.
Yeah, well that too, definitely. I mean, oh, we're locked in, you know, we're doing this forever. But because we've been drinking homies forever, that might now turn into, oh, you know, the late night combo homie and the homie who, oh, I can, you know, we can talk about our relationships, and that's the safe space that we have as well. But, you know, maybe that other person, unbeknownst to me, because oh, it felt like we were both here, and like, oh, we, you know, you told me about your one thing, and I told you about my 10 things. I thought like that was the agreement, but no, we only signed up to be drinking partners. Like this did happen, but like, did we update the contract? Did we agree that like, hey, okay, anytime you need to, you know, you just argue with your wife and you need to come and like hit me up, okay, I'm gonna wake up out my sleep? Like no, like that wasn't the contract, or like that wasn't, and being, and you don't always have to be, you know, vocal about, oh, that's not what I agreed to, but even just understanding personally, like, oh, you know what?
Boundaries.
Yeah, and like I did want this person to, I've been giving them advice for 9 months, and when I come to them I get, yeah, and oh, that's dope, and like, you're not giving me half the value that I gave, but oh, I signed up to help you. You didn't sign, it wasn't the other way around. And just level setting the expectations.
That's important though. It's important to understand like, hey, maybe I came into the relationship and they were never there. And this was just like, this was fun. But realizing, oh damn, it was fun in that moment, and I was okay just helping them, or just like showing up in this one space. But maybe my friendships now, maybe it's all of them or just this one person or whatever, I do need you to, you know, chip in on whatever, or I do need you to like, hey, be more affectionate or listen more or whatever, and updating that contract. Also, maybe recognize they just don't got that.
Yeah. And that's the other realization.
Yeah, that other half is important. I have a couple of friends like that. Yeah. Like, it's cool. Yeah. Like, even from, like, back in the day, like, talking about high school, because, like, a lot of my folks are on this side from, like, Jersey. DC and stuff. Yeah. And so, the relationship changed a decade ago. And now they want the relationship back, but for me, it's like, relationship changed a decade ago. And it's not that I'm not going to be your friend, it's that the type of friend you want me to be, I may no longer be available to do that because I'm that friend for like 8 people now. So it's not just me being that friend for you, it's I now have 8 people and you've gone from being 1 to 9 because you want it back. And, you know, I'm not going to go and find what I don't have. That cup is only so full. And, like, even for, like, my moms, I'm now friends with my moms. And the reason I say moms is because you have my mom in New Jersey and you have Darnisha's mom. It's like, that's who I call moms. Those are my 2 moms. And it's like, my mom in New Jersey, who gave birth to me and raised me, she's learning to be a friend. And my mom here in Lanham, who is raising me and has raised me for about 10 years, when I like look back and I think about the advice she gives me,
sure,
we have a friendship of I talk to her, she talks to me, we talk about when people may have us messed up, how did we handle that, what can we do better? So mutually admitting that we can do something better, or mutually admitting, yo, maybe we can't do anything at all and we did our best.
And I mean, you do have to, there does come a point where you do have to realize, like, okay, this is the capacity of, you know, one relationship or the other. And I don't know, it is a tough realization.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if it's the last strategy, but a strategy that has to be applied, I think, from start to finish is patience, man. I think even in the example that you just gave, understanding that for the friend that wants to now come back, them understanding that, oh, you know what, it has been a lot of time that's passed. I do now have to be patient to get back into this person's life in the capacity that, you know, we once were.
Yeah.
And then you being patient with, like, hey, actually, person, like,
that's real.
I know you're kind of trying it right now, but I'm gonna have a little patience and like not react or not like completely exclude you from my friendship circle or these opportunities or whatever. With respect to, hey, we have been friends for a long time, so patience has already been applied. We've already, you know, just held some kind of space for each other, whether it was at one point a very large space or now a much more finite or specific space. There still has to be patience applied to, like, okay, it can come back, even if it is 5 years from now or another 10 years or whatever. Okay, because we can be patient with each other and know that there is longevity to this friendship and to the bond, I can wait for, you know, the next ship or the next opportunity to fit into whatever space.
And it may not be on their schedule, and that's really important. Like when people reach out to me, unfortunately, I really do get busier than I acknowledge. And when it happens, I look back at my phone catalog 4 days later and I'm like, oh man, I missed that. That's crazy. I gotta reach out to them, hit them up with an apology, and then I make a day like, yo, specifically this day, let's hang out. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like, I need to carve out time, because whether the friendship's good or not, I'm still your friend. That word still holds value to me. So it's like, how do I make it up to them, or how do I honor what we've already created for like years? You feel what I'm saying? Because like everything is finite. Okay? At the end of the day, everything is finite. But like the care you pour into things is important, even for the finite stuff. And it's to me, that's the beauty of life, because like you do get chances to make something new or make something better. And I think a lot of us give those chances up because we lose patience. We lose vision. Because to have friendship is to have vision with the person that's on the other end. That's why I asked you, like, how are you a friend to yourself? Because like I sometimes wonder how the hell I'm a friend to myself. Like I look at some things that I'm doing, I'm like, what does self-care look like for you? So like, for example, right now I'm doing a self-care rollout because I practice what I preach. So like, we have these goodie bags from other black businesses that like involve art, music playlists, candles, essential oils, a shirt from Get Home Safe, and maybe a couple other things sprinkled in. And I told everyone, like, hey, I want you to slide in your business card so people know outside of Get Home Safe who gave them the self-care package, they can reach out to you. Because for me, the relationship is past what started it all. If they remember you, cool. If they don't, did they at least get to working on the new relationship? Did they like start to bring things into their home that wasn't there before? And it's like, have they created a habit because of you, or was it something that they needed? And does that even matter? You feel what I'm saying? Because it's still an action at the end of the day. Like, life is one big action. So this was a good talk.
No, it was, bro. It was. And I think I love how like topics just like find their way to come full circle. And I mean, life is gonna be. I mean, it took action to get here. Like, somehow, like, even just, you know, just being in the moment and like, okay, you know what? There's the space to do this. It makes sense. Why am I even looking for like reasons to not take this action? And then like, all right, like, fuck it, like,
pull up.
Why not? Let's do it. So we did. All right.
So where can the folks find you?
Man, on IG, at the Rodger Brown, that's RODGER, at YoFriends, YoFriends.com. I'm a graphic designer too, so you know if you need that work, at The Goods with 3 O's. Shit, I guess that's all the things to plug, man. But you know, find me in the streets, man. Not in these, you know, wild party streets, but I'd be outside, man. Like, and I mean that literally in terms of like. Or maybe not literally, I mean not figuratively, in terms of, you know, just being active and being engaged with people. So, you know, if you see me, say what's up. You know, I'm a nice guy, and I'm always down to be a friend. So.